Hello, my name's Andy, welcome back. This is episode 8 of the Blacksmithing Basics series. So today we're going to make a centre punch. So this is a really handy bit of kit to have for just marking hot steel. You'll be able to see your dots when you're working, and you can mark cold steel with it as well. So I suggest that you use coil spring for yours. You should be able to get that fairly easily and cheaply. It's a good steel for making punches, and I've made most of my punches out of coil spring in the past. Quite happy with them. It just so happens today that I don't have any at the minute, so I've made my centre punch out of a piece of this, which is very similar to coil spring but just ever so slightly different. You'll see in the heat treat that I use water to quench rather than oil. If you've got coil spring, I suggest you use oil to quench it. Okay, let's get cracking. Okay, so we're going to square the ends, put a very short taper on it, quite stubby, maybe only an inch at most, and then we'll round that off, and then we'll come back and put the tip on there as well. Okay, and as ever, and of course, as ever, safety first, ears and eyes. Okay, so we've come in, made a very short square taper. It's only 1.25 inches long. Now what I'm going to do is come back round, take these corners off so it goes to octagon, and then again to 16 sides, and then I'll make it round. Incidentally, that tip at the end of that taper there, you only really want that to be about I'd say about 3/8 square, maybe about 10 mil. That's about the smallest you want for a centre punch. Don't worry too much about the actual very tip, because we're going to come into that with the grinder. Now what you want to do is cut it off the length you think is going to be nice for handling. I personally like about 8 inches. There. angle grinder, and then we'll come back and dress the very back for the struck end. Okay, so I've cut it off at just over 8 inches long. What we need to do now is dress the tip with the angle grinder. I would use a belt linisher normally, but mine has broken, which is really handy. And then we'll come back and dress the struck end as well, and then we'll go through heat treatment for it as well. Okay, so I'm just going to clean up this rounded portion here, and then I'm going to put the point on the tip, and I'll come back and dress this edge as well. And this is a 60 grit flap disc on the angle grinder. Safety first. So, there you go. A very blunt, pointy bit. Now we'll do the struck end as well. All I want to do for the struck end is just round off the edges. Because this isn't a directional punch in that I need to know which way the cutting edge is actually facing, I'm not going to put in a divot like the Mark Asprey punches. Right. So for the struck end, I basically want a nice radiused tip. It doesn't have to be a complete dome, like the flat there will be absolutely fine, but you want the edges to be as smooth and as rounded as possible. That means that it won't mushroom and chip so easily. Okay, so we've ground a nice blunt tip on the end of the punch, and I've also rounded off the struck end so that it's nice and smooth. It's not going to mushroom or chip off any bit. Now what we have to do is heat treat the tip. So we're going to do a short heat on the very front inch or so, inch and a half. This happens to be a water quench steel, so I'll dip that in water, and then I'm going to let the residual heat in the back of the punch up here bleed up so you get the oxidation colours run through onto the tip. And then when it reaches a nice straw yellow colour, I'll dip it back in the water and cool it off completely. Okay. Okay, so the tip's non-magnetic, straight in the water. Let it go orange. Good. Straight back in. Okay, so here's the chisel straight out of the quench. I've let the colours run onto the tip, so it's a slightly golden colour. Unfortunately, you can't quite see it, but you'll just have to take my word for it. Now, the struck end is still relatively hard, so what I want to do now is heat the back inch or so of this, and then I'm going to cool it as slowly as possible in a bucket of vermiculite. So there you go, that's how to make one nice and easy centre punch. I hope you've liked the video, I hope you found it really helpful. If you have, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already done so, all the good stuff. I'm much more active on Facebook and Instagram than I tend to be on YouTube, so if you don't already follow me there, I'll put some links below. And well, thank you very much, I'll see you next time.